Imagine you're standing in the dark. No phone, no flashlight, no matches. You can't see your own hand. The only thing you hear is the sound of breathing. And something else. Something growling in the distance. Now, imagine you have a stick. And with that stick, you could command the sun. That's what fire gave our ancestors. Not just warmth, not just light, but power. Power over the dark. Power over the predators. Power over nature itself. And we stole it.
Fire is the oldest human technology. Older than tools, older than language, older than anything else we've ever made. But here's the part nobody talks about. We didn't invent fire. We didn't discover it. We stole it. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors didn't make fire. They found it. They carried it. They kept it alive like a living thing. And when it went out, which it often did, they had to steal it again. From lightning strikes, from wildfires, from volcanoes. They would walk for days, sometimes weeks, carrying a burning branch across the savannah, praying it wouldn't go out. Because without fire, they were food. The earliest evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. It's about 1 million years old. Inside the cave, archaeologists found ash and burnt bones. Not just scattered ash, organized ash. The kind that comes from a hearth, from a campfire. Someone sat in that cave 1 million years ago and watched the flames. They fed it wood. They used it to cook. They kept it alive. But here's the thing. They didn't light that fire. They found it. The oldest evidence of humans actually making fire, the kind you strike or rub together, is only about 400,000 years old. That's 600,000 years of carrying fire before we learned to create it. Think about that. For 600,000 years, your ancestors were fire carriers, not fire makers. They were firefighters in the most literal sense. They kept a flame alive, generation after generation, for longer than our entire species has existed. And if that fire went out, they had to find another one. Lightning strikes were the most common source. A bolt hits a tree, the tree catches fire, and somewhere in the distance, a human sees the smoke and walks toward it. Not always, not everyone. Sometimes a human would walk up to a flaming tree and die. They didn't understand fire. They were drawn to its warmth, its light, its danger. But eventually, someone figured it out. Someone took a burning branch and carried it home. And that someone changed everything. Professor Richard Wrangham, a primatologist at Harvard, has argued that fire is the reason we're human. In his book, Catching Fire, he makes a bold claim. Cooking, he says, is what made us human. Raw food takes hours to digest. It requires massive guts and huge amounts of energy. But cooked food is pre-digested. The heat breaks down the proteins and starches. Your body can absorb the calories faster and easier. And those saved calories went somewhere. To your brain. Your brain is only 2% of your body weight, but it uses 20% of your body's energy. You couldn't run that machine on raw leaves and raw meat. You needed cooked food. Fire gave us cooked food, and cooked food gave us brains. The timeline matches. Our guts shrank at the same time our brains grew, exactly when we started cooking. But here's the part that's almost impossible to imagine. Before fire, the human day ended at sunset. You couldn't see, you couldn't move, you couldn't hunt or gather or fight. You climbed a tree or found a sheltered spot and you stayed still. Because moving at night meant becoming food. Our eyes are terrible in the dark compared to the predators that hunted us. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, all of them could see just fine. Fire changed that equation overnight, literally. A campfire creates a circle of safety roughly 30 feet in diameter. Inside that circle, predators won't come. Outside that circle, you die. This is not an exaggeration. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have documented that people who wander away from the fire at night are significantly more likely to be killed by predators, even today. But fire didn't just protect humans. It gave them something they'd never had before: extra hours. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset. That's maybe 12 hours in summer, as few as 8 in winter. Fire suddenly added 2 to 4 usable hours to every single day. And over thousands of generations, those extra hours changed our species. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. She spent years recording conversations among the Juhansi Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert, one of the last groups on Earth still living something close to the original human lifestyle. What she found was striking.
During the day, about 80% of conversations were practical. Who's hunting where? Which plants are ready? Logistics, economic negotiations. Daytime talk was work. But at night, around the fire, the entire character of conversation changed. At night, 81% of conversations were stories. Tales of people in distant places, adventures, myths about the origins of the world, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wiesner argued that firelit conversation is where human culture was born. The campfire was the original theater, the original classroom, the original church. It's where humans learn to think beyond the immediate present and imagine things that don't exist yet.
But here's where it gets darker. Fire wasn't just a tool, it was a weapon, and it made humans the most dangerous animal on Earth. Before fire, humans were prey. We were hunted by leopards and hyenas. We were smaller, weaker, slower. We couldn't see in the dark. But with fire, everything changed. A human with fire could walk into the darkness and not be afraid. A human with fire could drive predators away from a kill. A human with fire could burn a forest and drive out the animals inside. We became the thing that everything else ran from. And then we turned fire on each other.
The earliest evidence of fire used as a weapon is hotly debated, but there are sites in Africa where ancient campsites show signs of burning that can't be explained by cooking or cleaning. Some researchers believe these were attacks. Fire became the first weapon of mass destruction. You could burn a rival tribe's camp. You could destroy their food stores. You could turn their home into ash. And all of it started with a stick and a spark. But here's the part nobody talks about. We didn't just use fire. We worshipped it.
Fire is central to almost every ancient religion. The hearth was sacred. The flame was a god. In Persian mythology, fire was the son of the sun. In Greek myth, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans and was punished for eternity. Every human culture, everywhere, has a story about fire's origin. And in almost all of them, fire is stolen. It's not given, it's taken. Because that's what happened. We stole fire from lightning, from volcanoes, from the gods themselves. And we never gave it back.
Now come back to you. When you flip a switch and light floods the room, you don't think about it. When you turn on the stove and cook your dinner, you don't think about it. When you light a match to start a candle, you don't think about it. But you are doing something that took your ancestors 1,000,000 years to figure out. You are commanding fire. And you have no idea how rare that is.
For 99.9% of human history, fire was the most precious thing on Earth. It was life itself. It was warmth, protection, cooked food, community, stories, survival. And if it went out, you might die. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu. It literally means cover fire. In medieval towns, a bell would ring at night, signaling everyone to cover or extinguish their fires. Not because of safety, because night was supposed to be dark. Night was when you slept. Night was when you were vulnerable.
For most of history,
being out at night was suspicious. In many medieval European cities, walking outside after dark was literally illegal. Night belonged to criminals and the supernatural. People feared it in a way that's almost impossible for us to understand today. And then we conquered it. We flooded it with light. And we thought that was progress.
But here's what we lost. Modern humans are exposed to artificial light an average of 7 to 8 hours after sunset. This light, especially the blue light from screens, suppresses your body's production of melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. Your body doesn't know the difference between a light bulb and the sun. When light hits your retina at 11 p.m., your brain interprets it as daytime. It delays melatonin release. It fragments your sleep. It disrupts the circadian rhythm that evolved over millions of years. We traded fire's warmth for a light switch. And most of us never even knew it was gone. But fire isn't gone. It's still inside you, still burning in your DNA. You are the species that stole fire from the gods, the species that carried a flame across the world, the species that commanded the sun.
And the next time you light a match, remember, you are doing something that took us 1,000,000 years to learn. If that wonder means something to you, if you feel that ancient warmth somewhere in your chest, then stick around. There's more where this came from. We're digging up the past, one spark, one story, one ember at a time. Subscribe, and we'll keep exploring together.